Sky Squad, we are back in the building. And of course, we got to talk about Basketball Wives Season 10, Episode 5. And pictured on the screen right now are the four main players of this episode because this is where the drama lies. So we're gonna get into it. First thing first, we're gonna rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. And for me, I'm gonna give this episode an 8. I want to give it an 8, but maybe an 8.5. And I'm thinking the 8.5 mostly because, Jackie was back doing her thing. Okay, Jackie, Jackie stirs up the juice. And Jackie definitely stirred up some major juice in this episode. So I think I'm going to give it an 8.5, mostly because of the Jackie Christie of it all. Okay. Let me know what you guys would rate it in the chatterization down below and why. I also give it an 8 because I felt like I wanted to give it a 9, but I think that 8 to 8.5 range is probably good because there were several scenes of this episode that I felt like we didn't really get much information about. And I just felt like they were really trying to push this idea of Brandi starting this cookbook and really emphasizing this whole situation with Jennifer dating this Jelani guy. And I really hope that this relationship is real because he does seem like the type of guy that would be perfect for her, ideally, in terms of at least the way he looks and the way he comes across on screen. Like, I feel like they would make a good looking match, you know what I'm saying, together. But it'll be interesting to see how things pan out over the course of time. Now, with that being said, guys, listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Typically, I am on camera, but as I let you guys know, I am completely under the weather, but we're still about to get out this content, okay? Because that's how we do it. All right. But anyway, we start the episode off with a photo shoot for Jen's new luxury hairline, which if you follow Jen on social media, then you would have already known that she had this coming. Brooke has arrived, and we learned that she's going to be the hair model. They recap the gender reveal and Nia throwing shade to Angel and Rock with her Instagram post and how inappropriate that was. And as a result, we don't see Nia at all in this episode. Jen also reveals that she's going to have a second date with Jelani. And in my mind, the scene just ended. We didn't get to see the hair being installed. We didn't get to see the photo shoot at all. And I just liken it to seeing Sonya, Kenya, and Candy doing Sonya's photo shoot. I mean, where at least we got to see the Mommy Nation, hoodies and whatnot. I'm shocked that we didn't at least get to see either one of these ladies modeling the hair, and perhaps we can find it on Jennifer's Instagram page. I just haven't gone to Instagram yet. But I was like, dang, VH1, y'all couldn't at least give us the final outcome of that, because I would have liked to have seen that. If we're gonna hype up someone's business like that. So next we get Brandi and her little brother Shakespeare. He stops by her apartment, and they look very much alike. So apparently he's going through it and didn't realize how sick their dad really was before he passed. And she talks about how supportive the girls have been, and she reveals that she has this cookbook coming out that she's doing in memory of her dad, Wolf, because he loved her cooking. So Jackie meets up with Duffey and British at a hookah spot, and they recap the gender reveal for British and how beautiful it was, because I had forgotten that British wasn't even there. Apparently, I think she had to go back to St. Louis to handle some business. So Duffy reveals that she was kind of upset about the whole promise ring situation because everybody, the way that Rockstar had hyped up that moment made it feel as though he was about to propose to Angel. And we get a flashback of Duffy, Malaysia, and Angel recapping how that moment was probably the wrong timing for the promise ring because it felt more like an engagement moment, and how embarrassing it was for Angel. Duffy says she feels like she needs to take off all of those promise rings, and she probably need to take off a set of those earrings too. But I digress. Anyway, and he needs to just take off all of those promise rings and give her one big engagement ring. And now Jackie, of course, is concerned. So this scene right here is pivotal because this is where Jackie learns that Angel Brinks might have been unhappy about that whole promise ring, engagement ring kerfuffle. Okay. Y'all like how I pulled that out? Kerfuffle. All right. Anyway, Brandi is over to her house, her apartment, prepping the food for her husband Jason, and I had almost forgotten that she was still married. And we are really on this cooking thing. She's really pushing this recipe book after talking to her brother about it. She's going to have a tasting session with the ladies to get the ladies' critical responses to her food. She gets some advice from Jason on what to cook for the evening. So then Jen meets up with Jelani, her date, and his dog Ghost. She got all sorts of questions about the dog, and she thinks she's ready to get another dog herself, but she knows that bulldogs snore and have respiration issues. So we have an English bulldog mixed with a mastiff, and I can definitely tell you that yes, they snore like old men. Okay, that's number one, and number two, they do have respiratory issues in general, just because of their short snouts. But they are really the best dogs. They are so friendly. They are super nice. They are just adorable, and they are very, very protective. Okay, so that's just a little bit of background. Anyway, so they catch up on each other's weeks, and she lets him know that she's having a launch event for her hairline and she wants him to come. Now, he lets her know he's enjoying getting to know her, and she tells him not to get tired of her, and he kisses her. So, two things. When she tells him not to get tired of her, I always feel like when somebody says something like that they kind of feel a bit insecure about themselves, and it to me sometimes is a reflection of what they've experienced in their past relationships. And I kind of wish that she hadn't said that, because to me it felt like it showed a little bit of a lack of confidence in herself. However, um, in a good sign, he ends up kissing her, but she's caught off guard by that, and she says in her confessional that she's, turned off a little bit. And I'm like, well, why would you be turned off? You clearly find this man attractive. He just basically gave you a peck on the lips, and even though you were surprised by it, I feel like that's a little bit much to be turned off by, especially when your dating history has been what it has been today. I felt like he was very respectful. He did not, try to invade her personal space. And what does she want him to do? Ask for a kiss? I cannot stand when somebody does that. You should not have to ask for a kiss. You should feel it in the moment, and the moment should feel right. And clearly, if she did not feel like the moment, like it's kind of a hard situation, because you always want to be respectful of the other person when you try to, when it's the first kiss. But I just didn't feel like it was enough to be a turnoff. I don't know, especially considering that we're going to find out that she sleeps with him on the next date. But I digress. So, of course, Jackie stops by Angel's house. Now, this is where things really get jumped off. Okay. She stops by Angel and Rocks, and Jackie is extremely impressed by Rockstar and the gender reveal. And she asks Angel if she thought the promise ring, now this is in front of Rock. She asked Angel if she thought the promise ring was an engagement ring. And I'm like, Rock is sitting right there. Angel says no. And I'm like, girl, you should just be honest about that. You thought it was going to be an engagement ring. And Jackie says, well, do you want to get married? Angel is like, well, like right now? Well, she's like, well, whenever he wants to ask me, whenever the time is right, is when I'll be ready. So Jackie lets her know in front of Rock that there were some words going around that she's not too happy in her relationship. And of course, Angel and Rock are surprised. Jackie says, well, did you talk to Duffey? She shared this information with me, and I was like, oh, Lord, this is classic Jackie right here. So Rock tries to warn Angel to stop talking to everybody about their business. And he doesn't even honestly want her to hang out with people who aren't married. And in my notes, I wrote, but player, y'all aren't married. What are you talking about? You don't want her to hang out with people who aren't married? First of all, Duffy's in a relationship. She's been in a long-term relationship with her fiance since like for ages. Number one. Number two, you aren't married to Angel. So you can't tell her not to hang out with people who aren't married, because you yourself haven't made her a married woman yet. So Angel is completely annoyed by this whole situation. And then Rock starts going off talking about how if Duffy wants to get aired out, then she will get aired out of her relationship and be done today. And the relationship would be done today. and that'll be the end of it. And Angel is like, no, don't do that. And now Jackie is looking scared because she don't want no parts of nobody's relationships ending. But to me, Jackie's face in this scene, when she was looking so shocked, like she had caused all this drama, it was hilarious to me. But in my mind, I was like, now, what does Rockstar allegedly know about Duffey that will cause her relationship to end? And number two, did it seem like what she said was all that bad enough to warrant you striking back at her in such a harsh regard? It didn't feel like the punishment would fit the crime because what Jackie really told her didn't seem like it was that bad, just that she was unhappy in her relationship. I mean, there have been points in time where the girl has been crying on screen about this relationship. So at times that's the truth. She's told Duffey these things. So to me, Angel has to take some ownership in this situation as well. So then Jennifer and British meet up at a hair company, and we learn that British is launching her own hairline in the vending machines in airports. Now, for those of you guys who watch our show Bell Collective that we recap on OWN, Bell Collective features a cast member on there who also has a brand of hair extensions that she also sells in airports and vending machines and whatnot. Her name is Latrice. So this was interesting to me, and I actually wanted to hear a little bit more about this. But anyway, of course, we digress into just Jen talking about she's been on 2 dates with Jelani and that he kissed her on the lips and how startled she was. And I'm like, girl, it was just a peck on the lips. But anyway, I understand boundaries. And so I have to be respectful of the fact that maybe that was just her boundary. So I'm going to let it go. Anyway, British advises her to just go on ahead and have sex with the man as soon as possible, because if she waits and it's bad, then she knows she wasted her time. I'm on the fence about that one because I kind of feel like you should have relations with somebody when you feel like the moment is right. Not so you can fast forward in time to find out whether or not you're going to be happy sexually. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. At the end of the day, when you get married, when you're in a long-term relationship, the sex is just a part. It is a component of the relationship. And there are many components in that relationship that can be the downfall or that can keep you two together. And people have to realize that. So to me, that is a little bit of an antiquated level of thinking, because if we ask British, I'm sure that the intimacy with Lorenzo was probably top notch, but it didn't keep her in the relationship, and it definitely didn't keep him in the relationship either. So to me, I don't necessarily always think that's the best advice, but whatever. Duffey is hanging with her fiance when Angel stops by, and Angel immediately dives in about Jackie telling her that Duffey had been talking about her. So Duffey lets her know that she didn't have any ill intent, and she just wanted the girls to be aware so that they can be there for her. And Duffey is upset that she said that Jackie said all of this in front of Rock. And Angel lets her know that Rock is now upset and thinks that they are all messy. So Duffey takes accountability for speaking about the relationship with someone like Jackie, okay? And Angel reminds her that she's been through trauma, especially with regards to men and, losing her first husband. And then Duffey says that she's just trying to be there for her and calls Jackie an old hater. So then Jen meets up with Jackie and they recap Jen's dating. And we find out that Jen has been on a third date with Jelani. And of course, Jackie asks if they've been intimate because Jackie don't have no cut cards. And Jen says, yeah, and that it was all right. Jackie wants to know if Jen used protection. I'm like, well, now, Jackie. Anyway, Jen is interestingly kind of coy about that. And so Jackie and Jen toast to whatever happens at their dinners, staying at their dinners. But that ain't gonna be the case in just 1 minute, okay? So Brandi is preparing for her tasting session. Brooke arrives first, and we learn that Brandi is making roasted tilapia. We also learn that Nia wasn't invited out of respect for Angel and Brooke. Jen arrives next, followed by Angel and all of her bling, and she feels like she's been the topic of all this discussion. And I'm like, girl, ain't nobody really talking about you. The only people that's talking about you were Jackie and Duffey. Okay, that's it. But they were the only ones that's been talking about you because they're the only ones that seemingly had any conversations with you. So to me, for you to think that all of these girls are having all these conversations about you, you blowing that up out of proportion. But anyway, Duffey arrives next. Brooke then says that she and her husband are considering IVF in LA, and Brandi reveals that her baby is also an IVF baby. British arrives next, and then Noria arrives without Nia. So Noria takes Angel off to the side to deliver an apology from Nia, and then Angel lets her know that she just wants some respect. So then Jackie arrives with her friend Mika. Jackie comes in loud and late. And let me tell you something. When Jackie comes in with these sunglasses on, something told me that she was going to be a bit rowdy today. Okay? Something told me Jackie going to be rowdy. Something about these sunglasses and the way she rolled in, I was like, Jackie, no, it's going to be a Ponderosa happening today. So Duffey is immediately annoyed and pulls Jackie off to the side to ask her what was said at the breakfast regarding her. And I know, again, I wrote when Jackie came pumping through with her shades on and her backup, I knew it was going to go down in this episode. So Jackie in her confessional basically says that what she said was out of love. And as she's starting to explain herself, Brandi interrupts the two of them for the tasting session. And what do you know? Everybody loves the food. Okay. So Jackie asks Brandi if she can have the floor because she can't do the fakeness. She wants to clear her name. She mentions that Duffey mentioned to her some stuff about Angel out of concern. So she didn't feel like she can sit in Angel's house and not say anything. Angel just wants to know why everybody is talking about her and her man and nobody is talking about none of their men. Jackie says, well, she's been married for 26 years and she just wants to help. And she wants to know if she ever told Angel that Duffey was a bad friend. And I was like, Jackie is so smart because Jackie is diverting from what the situation is actually about and making it about whether or not Angel told she ever told Angel that Duffey was a bad friend. So Angel says it was insinuated, and then Rock felt like they were being messy, and because she's pregnant, she wants to know why she would bring that up in front of Rock. So then Jackie starts going off about not having her name or character being assassinated, and she don't give an F who don't like it. So they starting to get loud with each other, but Angel doesn't want her relationship talked about, and Jackie says she didn't do it in a negative way, and Angel should know that. So then British has to interpret for Jackie. She tells Jackie all Angel wants to know is why you didn't call her or talk to her separately. So Jackie, in a moment of clarity, says she gets it now. She understands. She likes Rock. And then British backs up the fact that Jackie has always said she has liked Rock. And then Jen chimes in. This is when things get funny. Jen chimes in and says, well, I too was told information about your relationship from Jackie. She says, well, when Jackie told her about it, she told her in confidence. And I'm thinking, but Jen, y'all just toasted to what y'all said was said at dinner would stay at the dinner. Okay. Anyway, we get a flashback of Jackie telling Jen how Rockstar reacted to Duffey telling Jackie that Angel was unhappy, because Rockstar had said he was going to air Duffey out. And so for Jen, that was a red flag for Rockstar. So Angel is shocked. Like, why is she talking to you and not me? And Angel feels humiliated and she's ready to bounce. Jen tries to stop her from leaving, but Angel is like, this is what happens when people call to have these different conversations around the group, and it then turns into something different. So Brandi and Duffey walk with Angel outside as she cries, and Duffey walks her out apologizing to her. Jackie tells the rest of the ladies that she was not trying to be mean. She was just concerned, and it wasn't her trying to be messy. But the look on Noria's face is like, girl, you was trying to be messy. So anyway, Brandi comes back and chastises the group because she's like, y'all can't be talking to a pregnant woman like that. But Jackie is adamant that they were trying to lie on her, and she wasn't taking that. And she's hurt by Duffey. So Duffey has to explain to everybody that Angel left because Angel feels like everybody thinks that her relationship is a joke. But we only would think that the relationship is a joke because Angel has been talking about the relationship to Jackie and to Malaysia and to Duffey. So that's why people think whatever they think about the relationship. Okay. So anyway, Jackie admits to maybe stepping out of bounds by having the conversation. And then she admits that there were some other situations going on that people weren't aware of. Rock said some things about Duffey because he was upset and he pissed her off. So Jackie, in typical fashion, then relays that he said that when he sees Duffey, he is going to air her the F out and that her man is going to want to leave her the next day. So then Duffey goes on about people talking about her being with rappers and whatnot her whole career. And she basically says that that's the only thing that he could possibly be talking about. And then she goes off about how nobody having anything on her she goes off about nobody having anything for her but her Persian fiance. And then she goes off about Rock being weak. Jackie says, well, if we're going to be a sisterhood, we got to be all able to sit together and deal with it. And Duffey says she's not arguing with nobody's man. And to be quite honest with you, I feel like Duffey is taking the correct route. She should never be in a position where she's having to argue with Roccstar. Because if Roccstar has a beef with anybody, I can understand him being upset about the way the information was presented. But I think that that's a situation that he needs to handle with Angel and who she speaks to about their relationship. But I don't think that he should ever be trying to come at or after Duffey. And I think that Duffey is in the right by not wanting to have any conversations with Roccstar. But that's just my thoughts, y'all. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode. It's getting a little bit hot in the Basketball Wives. We're going to see where things jump off next week because we'll have Malaysia and Brandi coming face to face again at Jackie's podcast. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so your boy is about to go back and get into the bed. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode, and I will catch you guys in the next video.